One God, one aim, one destiny, one love. One God, one aim, one destiny, one love.
Greetings, family. I greet you in the words of peace. Hotep, Alafia, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, and as always, race first. This is the Negro Voice. This is our first episode brought to you by the Ministry of Information from the UNIA-ACL Pan-African Government of the World under the illustrious 11th President General Michael R. Duncan. This show is brought to you in part by FACA-ROC in NYC, by CDPM and OSHUN Designs. Please stay with us. We will have an awesome show for you today. Here you see, the name of our show, the Negro Voice, comes from obviously a derivative from the Negro World newspaper from the 1920s and our current organ, the Garvey's Voice, which you can purchase on our website, UNIA-ACLgovernment.com. Ashe, here you see our list of illustrious President Generals, our government from the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey to our 11th President General, the Honorable Michael R. Duncan, who is joining us now. Brother President General, welcome.
Thank you, brother. And it's a blessing to be on this program here. We salute you, the Minister of Information, for creating this platform so we can get our message across. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, sir. Okay, so let us move forward. We have our first guest ever on our show today, the Minister of Education, the Honorable Charles Butler. Salute, sir.
Oh, thank you, my brother. Thank you to brother minister for all the work that you do. I know you're always busy, and that's what I like about you. You're always busy. Thanks to all of our guests who are here. And most importantly, thank you to our President General Michael R. Duncan.
Thank you, so, Brother President General, before we begin the show, did you have any remarks, any opening statements that you wanted to give us?
First, I'd like to ask you about the design of the shirt. Brother, it's beautiful. So what can we do with it?
Okay. This design you mean right here that's on my screen?
Yes.
I actually sort of designed it haphazardly, just messing around on one of the websites. In the interest, honestly, it's an interesting story. Let me go on and share it because it's relevant. There's a football team, a college football team, Ohio State. Every time they get introduced on the field, they always get introduced as the Ohio State. And our ministry, Brother Minister Butler, Sister Delali, and Brother Minister Clyde, we've all come up with the idea that we're going to push harder for the UNIA-ACL. So with that, I was just thinking too hard, too creatively, and went in and started designing our own football jerseys. This actually is on a website where we can order these things. However, I know how you go, President General. We need to find an African that can create them.
Yes, but see, I like the shirt, and you know I have a soccer program. So the minute I see the shirt, it just hits me that I could have my team wearing something like this. It's beautiful and it will truly represent. So I'm definitely going to think about that and have a further conversation with you.
Yes, sir.
So Brother Blyden, again, thank you so very much. And I have to really let you know that you exemplify the spirit of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. My message today before we proceed is just to let us hold stronger under all boundaries for 2021 and let us accomplish tenfold what we did last year. Let us move to create a Liberty Hall in every city where we have an active UNIA division. Let us move to create ROC, various type of ROC supermarket, even if they're smaller, in every city where we're located, because we cannot rely on anyone for economic existence, because Mr. Garvey said, if you do, sooner or later, you will die. the African Redemption Fund, it's the only medium for us to build Africa. And we would like for all our members, each and every one of our members, take it as their duty to support that great African Redemption Fund. It was what allowed Mr. Garvey to do certain things then, and we can still use this medium to do a lot more. Another thing we have to teach our members and our leaders to let's be a little bit more patient with each other. We are clear that we are a damaged people. And if we're not patient with each other, the plans we have just won't materialize. I have to thank Message to the People, course of African philosophy that really redefined me, myself, and how I behave, especially when it comes to African people. And we have to be patient because our people are damaged people. It is difficult to ask a race of people who have been following for the last 400 years and then tell them to lead. So we have to be patient with our people, and we have to be the examples for our people. And in investing, we have to be the examples to first invest and to show our people that we can invest together and make it work, because our people have been cheated and bamboozled so much that we just don't trust each other anymore. So we have to initiate these economic activities, show our people that no, one person doesn't have to do it by himself or herself, but we can do it as a group. Last but not least, let's continue to work so we can build that base that Mr. Garvey spoke about in 1919. The establishment that he wanted to build that super city in Liberia, starting in 1919 and ending or actually finalize it by 1923 is still possible, because we made that move in 2019, 100 years after Mr. Garvey made that move. We made that move in Liberia, where we had our first international convention on the continent of Africa in Liberia. And now we are moving towards establishing that city that Mr. Garvey spoke about. So let's use this organ here to motivate and inspire our people to continue to fight the fight for freedom, liberty, and life. Let us strike the first blow of liberty. One God, one aim, one destiny. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Brother President General. Thank you. Woo! All right, so like I said, we have a fire show for you today. Our next guest is the illustrious Minister of Education, the Honorable Charles Butler, and his message today is on reparations.
Yes, that's true. Reparations. The reason I chose that topic as the Minister of Education is because I think everybody has been hearing this word float around, but I don't think we really have taken the time to investigate what this really means, especially for African people all over the diaspora. First of all, in my opinion, there's a confusion about the word reparations, or the concept rather, not the word. The concept is that Black people need to be repaired. And I agree, we all agree on that. We know we're not 100%, even though we like to think that we are. But the other part of reparations, which is missed, is the idea of compensation. There are two different thoughts and there are two different streams. Reparations requires that we fix ourselves. It's incumbent upon us to do the things that we need to do to make ourselves whole. Well, where are we going to find those things that we need to work on? What is the plan for doing that? Well, you know, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing gave us the areas in which we need to be concerned. economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. I like to think of sex as health, and I like to think of war as security and preservation of everything that is ours. Those are the things that we need to focus on, our part of repairing ourselves. Compensation, on the other hand, is what's required from the Europeans who enslaved us. And these things have been lumped together, but they're two separate ideas. You see, when the Europeans enslaved African people, they did not pay us. If they did pay us, it was so minimal, just like today, that you really had no real living wage. But our people were able to make a wage and be able, after enslavement was declared illegal, to buy property. And in buying property, we were able to grow crops, sell different things to each other to make a way for ourselves. Well, that same concept is what struck the Honorable Marcus Garvey. He said, these people have taken their meager resources and created something. And I need to go around the world and see what's happening with my people. And when I did, I see that. And when he went around the world to see what the conditions of Black people were, he saw that everywhere he went, the condition was the same. We were always at the bottom. We had no meaningful leadership. We had no great men of thought and leadership anywhere in the world in any large number. We had no armies, we had no navies. So where does that leave us? That leaves us to fend for ourselves and find a way to make ourselves more independent and stronger. So how do we do that? We do that by unifying what resources we have. Well, where do we get the resources? Mother Africa has all the resources that we need. She supplies the world with all the minerals and resources that the world wants and has been doing so for thousands of years. Gold extracted from Africa was happening back in the days of ancient Egypt. And to this day, gold is still extracted from Africa. That is a lot of gold, people. That is a lot of gold. To think that from those thousands of years ago up until today, they extract tons of gold. And that's just one resource. That's just an example. And so I say to folks that we got to learn to find other resources in Africa, join with our brothers and sisters around the world, because there's the Caribbean and there's South America, there's Canada, there's all the other places of Asia where you find Black people. And once we unite together and see that we don't need anybody else, we got the brain power and we got the natural resources. The only thing we lack is unity. Our President General has taken it upon himself to exemplify how this can be done. He's got a garden, not a garden, excuse me, wow. He's growing crops over in Africa and Liberia. And that farm, because that's what it is, it's a farm.
Yeah, brother, but it's also a big garden. So you're not so wrong. Go ahead.
You calling it a garden. I know that your vision is beyond a garden. He is trying to get thousands of acres, now it's hundreds of acres, to be able to feed the people of Liberia. That's a test of a sort, where you try the market, you see what the production is all about. Once you're able to establish that, you're able to duplicate it around the world. When you can duplicate that around the world, our people can get fed. Once we can get fed, we can build and construct anything and everything. So that part of reparations is in place. You don't have to look to another group to do that. We're doing it in the UNIA-ACL. So, that's why I said we need to look at reparations right now, and we need to look at compensation, because we're not going to dismiss Europeans from what they owe us. They owe us everything that has made them wealthy, and they know it. And don't think they ain't got the money, because we all see when the pandemic comes, they can get trillions of dollars to pay everybody $600, $1,200, however many hundreds of dollars that they think we need to boost their economy. Well, we need to boost our economy. So they need to dig in that pocket and find some of those resources for us. So those are the main thoughts of what I have to offer today about the concept of reparations and the concept of compensation. So I stand ready to listen to whatever anybody else has to say toward me, and we can keep the conversation going.
Ashe, brother minister. Excellent, excellent. Does anyone have any brief questions for Brother Minister Butler? I will allow the mute thing to come off now. Hold on one second. If you have any questions, please be respectful and don't speak when someone else is speaking, and have your mute on if you are not speaking.
Yes, Brother Butler, you're on point. And we have to get ourselves together, because if we don't, even though we deserve to get reparation, these people, to me, will not pay it unless we can force them to pay it. Well, but so what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, everybody acts when their self-interest is at stake. First of all, I see that whatever enterprises we enter into, the way we contract with Europeans has to change. Every time they've offered any African country a contract for anything, they offer the contract to us. We sign their contract, and that obligates us to fulfill their contract. And it always gives us minimal returns on our investment and maximum returns on their investment. Those contracts need to be renegotiated. We need to have a contract that we create and offer to them, where we have a more substantial role in the compensation part than we're currently getting. Now, that don't mean they don't get nothing, because anybody is not going to enter a contract where they get nothing. But we need to have a reasonable amount of return on whatever it is that we have as resources that we offer to the world that they're interested in. So we need to rethink how we negotiate contracts. That's the first part that I see. The second thing is we need to look at our own capacity to make things happen, from an agricultural point of view, from a mining point of view, from the resources of lumber and those kinds of things, human resources around the world. What does it take to feed the continent of Africa? What does it take to feed the Africans in America? What does it take to feed all of the other Africans around the diaspora? Nobody's sitting down doing that math, but that math needs to be done, because it's my understanding that Zaire, Zimbabwe, and I think it's Tanzania are rich enough with food production that they could feed the entire planet every day, 4 meals a day. Now, if that's true, then we need to investigate how we can get those things in place so that that production can happen. So that's the long answer to your short question.
Yes, but then I do agree where you also said that we have to control the contracts, and we have to write our own contracts and determine our own prices. For example, Ghana and Ivory Coast being one and Ghana being two, grow over 70% of the world's cocoa. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the cocoa price is not determined in Ghana or Ivory Coast. It's determined in the US and Europe. How can we allow people to determine the price of something that we are growing? A reason why we only produce the raw material and we sell the raw material to them. Why we have to develop our economic base? Because then, since we are producing most of the world's cocoa, we should be making most of the world's chocolate. Mm-hmm. As we speak right now, I am putting on nursery 10,000 seeds of cocoa. in Liberia. And this is just for now. By the time we reach April, May, we want to put another 30, 40,000 seeds on nursery. Because we at Liberty Farm, since the cocoa is grown well in that region, we're going to grow it. But when we grow it, we're not going to sell the raw materials to anyone. We're going to manufacture and create the various uses of cocoa.
You see,
so
brother,
there's so many things we have to do, but as you said, brother, we have to control our contracts. We have to write our contracts. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. See, your point supports exactly my line of thinking. You see, we're making that cocoa, but we're not buying that cocoa. We're buying it from a third party if we buy it at all. We can buy it firsthand. We don't need the middleman. Once we start to diminish the middleman's role, he's going to come back to the table to renegotiate how much of that profit goes to us versus them, because they need the market. We are the world's greatest market.
I agree, brother.
Absolutely, Brother Butler. That was excellent dialogue. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, folks, we are running out of time. So if you have any quick questions, you can type them into the chat and we will address them before we leave. I had a bit of a thing that I wanted to give you guys today, but we will save that. But I will give you this. Brother Minister of Education Butler always give you a little bit of a sneaky tip and a homework assignment in his words. If you really watch him, you see him laughing right now. He told you in code to go study the history of Black people signing contracts. And when we talk about the UNIA-ACL, Pan-African government of the world, and we talk about our national anthem that says Ethiopia, land of our fathers, we must look at the history of the Ethio-Italian War. The reason they got into that war in the first place was because of the contract. So we have homework. Go study the contract so we can all come back to the table to figure out how we can help our President General develop these new contracts for us to get treaties to be recognized as our Pan-African government of the world. When we're talking about in our Pledge of Allegiance, where it says, I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the defense, protection, and security of the red, black, and the green. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about reparations, okay? Because anything that we gain, we must protect. We can't have $1 in our pocket if we're not ready to protect it. Therefore, we can't have the President General in Liberia creating farms, and we are not ready to protect that. So we must build wherever we are domiciled across the planet to help serve this government so the government can serve us. We as Garvey say, ask not what your government can do for you, but what can you do to help build your government? There is no more honorable mission for the African people than to unify our great nation. Ashe. So with that, folks, unfortunately, we will have to end it. Brother Assistant Minister, Brother Abdullah, I see you out here, bro. You got 2 seconds, bro, if you wanted to say something.
I put my question in the chat, but I just want to say grace first and peace and love to everyone.
Okay, the African Legion question, yes, exactly what I was just saying. Every single division, notice I'm saying divisions, meaning you must already start off by building a division wherever you are. Also, if you're in your neighboring areas, encourage people to come join and build a division where they are. But each division has an auxiliary. That auxiliary is the Universal African Legion. So the men and women who are brave enough to stand to defend, protect, and secure the red, black, and green must join the UNIA government of the world and join the auxiliary of the Universal African Legion. The only way we can protect ourselves worldwide is if we have people that is willing to put their feet on the ground like you do, brother assistant, because this is my official assistant minister right there in the Ministry of Information. If y'all didn't know, he does the street ministry, the real street ministry. Black Chicago be like for real, race first on the ground in Kenosha and wherever our people need him. He is there preaching that Garveyite gospel. So when he asked about defense, protection, and security, this is what it is. We must have people to stand with our minister that's on the street. If we're not doing that, we're not serious, people. It don't matter where we are domiciled. I see today on our call, we have people from South Carolina. We have people from, like I said, Trinidad/Toronto. We have people from Nigeria. Brother Arinze is on right now, live from Nigeria. We got our brother in here from Germany. Brother President General, we have a new member that just recently joined with us from Ethiopia. He will hopefully be getting a chance to represent us in Addis Ababa for the bus unveiling. So when we say this is the Pan-African government of the world, and when our 11th President General and Administrator, the Honorable Michael R. Duncan, says we must create a republic, an empire where the sun does not set, that means wherever we are on the planet, we should be able to connect with someone that's a Garveyite down, division numbered up, underneath the glorious red, black, and green. Ashe. So with that, we are going to close our show. Again, this has been the Negro Voice, brought to you in part by the FACA-ROC in NYC, Merritt Boulevard, brought to you in part by the UNIA-ACL Montgomery Burrs Division, the Ministry of Information, the UNIA Pan-African Government of the World, and we'd like to give a special shout out to CBPM and to OSHUN Designs. With that, I leave you all in the words of our glorious grand association: one God,
One God,
One God.
one aim,
one aim,
One aim.
one destiny,
one
One
destiny.
destiny.
and
Race
race
first.
first all the time.
And all the
All the
time,
time,
race
Race
first.
first.
You better preach, family. This has been the
Thank you,
Negro
brothers.
Voice.
Race first, 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 race first. In the spirit of Marcus Garvey, one God, one aim, and one destiny. We're trying to live heavily. Power to the people that's meant for us especially. Support black businesses, utilize your specialty. I love my brothers and sisters, there's no confusion. You want equality, ownership is revolution. Look at our flag, let me explain what it means. In the essence of God, which is the supreme being. The red is for the blood of which our ancestors shed, for us to be free and also moving ahead. The black is for the skin we possess as melanin. As God's chosen people, just look at the evidence. The green is for the land in which our people reside. All over the planet, which includes that Kelbulon. I embrace first, and there is no looking back. Because I love my people, and that's the actual fact. Race first, 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 race first.